Hello and welcome to another macro video. Today I wanted to introduce you to a new macro, but it's an analysis macro. I hadn't realized just how many different analysis macros I've got now, and was reminded of several that I'd forgotten about, so I'm going to add those onto the video as well. And the whole point of analysis is to maintain consistency. And again, I don't think I'd realised before quite how many different ways in which an author can get inconsistency in a text, and it's our job to get rid of those inconsistencies, and so it's quite a big job. So the next stage is to remind you of some of the existing analysis macros that you should hopefully be familiar with. For example, we've got CapitAlyse, which gives you information about all sorts of features to do with spelling and punctuation and capitalization, all sorts of standard things that we might need to look at, such as the way chapter and figure and equation are capitalized or not, and whether they have numbers, and then there's the punctuation of et al, i.e. and so on. A new one that's on there now, which I'd forgotten about, is different ways of OK, writing OK. There's all sorts of different ones there. And the other one, which is relatively new, is it tells you the spacing of solidus and ellipsis and hyphen and dashes, because there could be a space before, a space after, or both, or neither, and CapitAlyse now gives you that information. CapitAlyse, one of several people's favourites, so it's looking at names of people and places and so on, and trying to see how many times different words, different versions occur, and whether some of them could be inconsistencies, so an inconsistent spelling of a surname or a town. Full name Alyse, again one that's maybe forgotten a little, and it's quite useful in fiction particularly, I would think, where characters are given different names, initials, and full name Alyse will highlight the numbers of times that these different names occur, and you can look through and compare them and see if you can spot inconsistencies in the list. Hyphenlyse, of course, another favourite, where we're looking at pairs of words which could either be hyphenated, or could be two words, or could be one word, and we've now got a new feature in that, which is that we've got the n dash. So if the pair of words is separated by an n dash, that is recorded and counted as well. That's useful. And the latest new analysis program before the one I'm going to show you now is word Paralyzed. So you've got words like can, not, and cannot. Could be two words or one. Shock wave as one word or two. Oh, they're both one, but never mind. Let's put the space in. There we go. And the point of that is that unless you have shockwave with a hyphen, it's not going to come out in the hyphenlyse. Okay, hyphenlyse shows you two words and one word, but if it's not hyphenated anywhere, then hyphenlyse won't find it. Word Paralyzed will. So that's a useful new addition to the list. So for today, what have we got? A new macro. We've got CapitAlyse. The idea there is that words can have an initial capital or not. If you take words like maths and physics, say, then do we want a capital or do we not? I do a lot of so that would come from the sort of engineering and science side of my work. I do a lot of construction books, and I get things there where they talk about the client and give him or her a capital C. Architect may have a capital A, but I don't think I've ever seen a bricklayer in a text. But anyway, the idea of CapitAlyse is to find out how many times the word occurs with an initial capital or without. But you'll probably have twigged that we've got a couple of problems. If you've got headings like new macro there, where we're using initial capitals in the heading, that could make it look as if we're using capitals, and when we're not really. It's only just initial capital because it's part of a heading. And the other one, of course, is that every sentence starts with an initial capital. So we've got to take those into account to try to work out what's going on and try and see if there is some inconsistency. Okay, the results may be a little inconsistent. It's difficult to be sort of accurate on these, but the idea is that it will at least give you some indication of whether we've got problems of inconsistent capitalization. And what we've done is that the results will show you where we put the number in brackets where the word is capitalized at the beginning of a sentence, so they're added to it. So let's put it into action. Let's have a sample text here, and let's run the CapitAlyse macro. CapitAlyse, there we go. Right, so first thing it does is it underlines headings, and it underlines the first word of each sentence, because those are the ones that it's going to ignore in its counting, but it has to add to them. There is an indication of progress on the status bar there, but it's a bit difficult to see. So you can actually show that in VBA, in Visual Basic. So if I stop the program with Control Break and click Debug, then it's stopped in the middle of the program there. If I show the immediate window, which is Control G, then the immediate window has got those same bits of information that are appearing on the status bar, but as it's in the window there, clearly visible, you can see what's going on and you can see it counting down. And so we just have to talk amongst ourselves for a while as it picks up all the different capitalized and uncapitalized words. It goes a little faster towards the end, so it shouldn't be long before it's finished. So 21:16, 10, 3, and there we go. Okay, so it tells you that how long it took, which is sometimes useful. If you've got big files to deal with, then you can do a test on a smaller file to give you an idea how long it will take. And it says it's found 88 word pairs. So let's get rid of the VBA. So here's our results. And as you can see, break, for example, occurs 3 times lowercase, 3 times with an initial capital, and another 3 times as the start of a sentence. So if we just make this a little smaller, we'll be able to see more easily what's going on. Move it out of the way, move our sample here, and if I use find same place macro, I can say double click that one and it finds break in the text there. If I use find next match case, i.e. case sensitive, so it's looking now for the capitals, and of course the example there is control break, that's why it's a capital letter there, and control break again, and the break key, so that's why those are capitals. Century, why is that CapitAlyse? Find same place, Century Gothic, so it's the name of a font, so that's a reason why that's in as an initial capital. Now currently looks a little funny. Why is that capitalized in the middle of a sentence? Find same place, currently, capital R, currently assigned to. So yes, you can see why that's a capital. So I don't know whether this macro is really going to provide useful information, but it's there if you want to try it out and have a go with it. So let's move that out of the way and have a look at some of the other new, well, no, sorry, not new macros, but some of the old ones that I've been reminded of as I was preparing for this video. CapitAlyse, there are all sorts of different ways in which you could talk about the 19th century or whichever, and it just goes through all of them and counts how many times each occurs. So people are doing history and that sort of thing. That could be helpful. Analyze, that's looking to find errors when you have like an pair, for example, or an onion is alright, but at onion isn't right. So when we run this one, so run Analyze at the beginning there, so run, it goes through the whole document, and these are the only a and occurrences in the document, so that's all it finds. So in other words, you've got a onion is highlighted because it thinks that's a mistake, and an union is wrong, a union is correct, and it even does initial letters, so a H is wrong, it should be an H. But when you come to acronyms, HTML is going to be wrong, but an HTML, is that right? Yeah, probably. So it's a lighter colour if it's an acronym. A SCSI is what it would normally be, and SCSI. When I read a CSI, I don't say an SCSI, I say a SCSI. So it's a SCSI cable. Okay, so that's Analyze. CapitAlyse, it goes through the document and finds words that are the same except for one or more accented characters in the word, and it tells you how many times each one occurs. That's very straightforward. The last one is not really a sort of consistency thing, but I put it in there because it's an Alyse macro. It analyzes the size of sentences. Somebody wanted to know what the average size length of sentences was, and also wanting a standard deviation, so I wrote this macro for that. Word does provide a readability, some readability statistics, but I did my own version, and you can see the difference. That's the complete text. This was I've been writing about my faith recently in the last year. I've written, as you can see, 91,000 words, and I just decided to see how long my sentences were. So that's the complete text. But what I also do is to take out the headings, because obviously headings aren't really sentences. So I strip all the headings out and then analyze the rest of it. So those are the figures there. And obviously there the average sentence length is longer once you've got rid of the headings, which tend to be short quotes sentences, even though they're not really sentences. And then it also gives a split of the numbers of sentences with different lengths, different numbers of words, in other words. So that's that one, with and without the headings. And then it gives you words readability, so that's suggesting words per sentence 19.2, which is somewhat higher, well, a bit higher. Mine reckoned 18.2 for this is without the headings, these readability statistics. So there we are, that's the macros for today, and if you've got any queries about any of those, do get in touch by email. Thanks for watching.